Everybody, Jerry with Handyman's Companion. We're here with Steve today. He's got a little ICF project we're going to show people how to put together a simple box. It's a nice starting point for people to learn something. And you walk up, you can see we have the footings in already. Then Steve has it all laid out, got it marked out for us. And then if you see the little collars around the rebar that was poked in when they did the footing, that's just a piece of like 2-inch PVC, and that's something to catch our rebar uprights after we put them in later. That's all that is. So we'll get started with the ICF. Okay, so this is one of the corners. They all come folded. The nice thing about new Duraforms is there's several nice things about new Duraforms. And one of them is that they're folded so they don't take up as much yard space when you're working on a project. But if you see the corners, they come folded. And if you look, there's another little piece inside of here that you gotta, it's just a rubber band holding it. So you take that out, and then that's the spacer for this loose one that gives you the right dimension for your width. So then you have to do that. And then you just put that down in the corner and you start. Okay, then I'd like to add that this is Steve's first time he's ever done this, okay? He's a handy kind of guy, so that helps, you know? But this is his first time. He's picking it up quick. It's not that hard. All right, when you take the form out of the bundle, these are folded. Get them, pull them in half, just like that, and then they go into the hole and into place. Okay, we're ready to start. So the object with these is you want to start in the corner and work towards the middle. So you'll have a common seam in the middle. You'll leave a little gap there, so any number works for a measurement to put it together. Doesn't matter. If you're trying to lock it all tight together, you're going to leave a little space in every wall coming around. So you just start at a corner, work towards the middle, start the other corner, work it back this way. Just want to make sure we get it to your, try to follow the line pretty close here. Okay. Then we'll just go that way. Jump one here. Start that way and come this direction. We'll see where we end up.
Matter which way the long part?
No, it doesn't. We'll see where we end up. Oh, okay. Grab hold of that one. Nicely. So now we got, if we turned, let's turn that one this way so we get a little bit longer this direction, Steve, and then that'll put us here. We'll put one common the other way. So we'll just turn that corner. Nice. You good there? So now you got to check the length of your line. Are you on line on that side, Steve? Right on, Bill. Against the rebar here, something. What's hitting us? This one. Pull that rebar back that way, Steve, please. Ooh, that's good. Number 5 rebar there, Iron Man Steve. That's what we'll call it, just for the day. Okay. So now we've got, you're good on your line down that way, Steve, right?
Yep, corner's good.
So what we've got here is we've got a, are we tight there?
Yeah, but it might not be. Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay. So we got 59.5 inches here, or so, a little bit more. So we're going to cut a 59-inch piece. All you really need to do, if you got 59 inches, is right here. Okay? And if you see this little, this is where a tab is at underneath the screw tab. For screwing to every one of these little, they're 8 inches apart on the Enduraforms. So you're going to end up right next to the screwing tab. Okay? And it just kind of all eyeballs. I need to flip her over, same spot, right next to that. Then this piece goes into the hole. We'll put the hole that way. So you're going to go that way, Trey. Okay. Yep. And it's probably not square. Something that form there, I think, is not. But it's okay, because the next time they'll square up. Because when you get the two locked together.
Okay.
So basically, you got your common seam here, then, where that's at. Steve, can you just pull that one back a little bit?
Right here?
The front one. Nope, this side. Just twist them that way. There you go.
Okay.
See, there you end up. You want about half, 3/4 of an inch. And you need a little bit of room. So every time, so we'll mark a Sharpie on there and put 50.5 inches on the inside there. Nope. So I can read it from out here.
Oh, okay.
Nope, this side. That
Here?
form. Yep, 50.5. So that's how long that form is. So then next time you don't got to measure, because you can't measure once you have your bottom number. That's what you have to use all the way up. If you measure every time, if the footing's off a little bit, which it is, I'm sure, you know, then you'll grow or you'll lose. And when you come time to lock it up on top, it won't work. Mm-hmm. So you need that gap. So you keep that number all on your next cut, whatever. Well, the next cut, the next course will be a different number. But then you have your two numbers and you cut them every time. Okay, then we'll start rolling down this. Okay, so here we are at the middle of this wall. And you got to remember, this is a factory. And if you look, the factory's got your screw thing and then a full 2-inch tab. That's your factory. So you can actually cut a factory anywhere. If I wanted to cut this to be a factory, I'd cut that out right there to butt up to a factory end. When you're at the common seam, which is what this is going to be here, will be the common. You want to make sure you put that piece in factory to factory, or else when you come over the next course, it won't line up. Okay, so what do you got there, Steve?
15.5.
15.5, go. That's good.
Yep.
Let's go like 14 3/4 on one. And I'm going to follow. So I just eyeball. You don't need to be right on, whatever. So there's Steve's mark. We just come in. Flip it over. I'll give it a 1/2 inch from that same. This was where his mark was on the other side. So I just eyeball that. There's his piece. And then he's going to put this to the common seam. So that you want to write that, what is that, 14 3/4? Write that on that form. All right. All the pieces on the common seams, we're using different forms. Here, take a look at these. So on each one, because the other piece might work on the next course up. So, and then remember, you can also burn up any excess pieces that you have around here by just cutting. If I cut this one off here, now this is a factory, same as the factory form, which is on that end. So you could use that to stack it in between. But I don't recommend doing that on the lower coursing. You do that up high, second to the top course, burn up your pieces. So then you got a full piece over the top of it to lock it all together, and a full one on the bottom. Helps lock it together. And there's less pressure the higher you go up on top of the wall when you're pouring. So you want to keep all those pieces up a little bit. I usually put them in second from the top, then you can burn them off. Before you measure and cut, make sure that you're on your lines on each end. Is that end good on the line, Steve?
Yeah,
We'll probably look to get a lot after banging stuff around. That baby's right on.
that's the gap. That was a little
Yep,
iffy.
that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I think you're good to measure, Steve.
Okay.
Double check this end, but I think he's good yet.
16.
Yep, we're good.
16 inches.
15, give it, give it half, 3/4 of an inch
Okay.
short of that.
Okay.
So then I'm going to come down there, and it looks like I might be tweaking too much. A little bit. Okay. There we go.
Oh, no, it's stuck.
Beautiful. So Lexi, can you see down in there? They have stirrups in here. See this, that the rebar will hook into, and you don't necessarily, this one, you have dirt on both sides. It doesn't really matter, but I like to usually offset it. And a lot of times if you have a wall with dirt on one side, nothing on the other side, the company you buy the foam block from, the ICF, will have their own engineering, which will tell you how much rebar, where it goes. So this particular instance, we got dirt on both sides, so it does not matter. So you just want to grab that end, Steve. We'll slide him that way, and let just go off center on the outside, just off the center, and then it just clicks right in. And then it falls. Okay. So that, and then you want to, we'll put it like a 2-foot lap, Steve. Okay. And that'll go to the outside clip. Same spot, same clip. Okay. So you'll put it right on top of the end where you're going to have your lap. Got it. And then, okay, here's. No, you stay right there. Okay, then look, you need a 2-foot lap. Basically, they have the engineering specs, tells you what size rebar, how much lap you need, but 2 foot on a 1/2 inch is good. And if you look too, also, these are an 8-inch number in between these ties. So if you look, 3 of them is 2 feet. So if you're in the middle, there, you got it. Bang. Then you drop him in, and then we'll go down and measure me the end. Steve, see what I need for the lap there. Nine, I'm going to make it. Your way a little bit yet? Yep. 18, that's 20 footer. We're just going to go with the full, we'll bend the next one around. Got it. Okay, so we're going to start the second course here. So you got to pop your corner, and you want to rotate the opposite direction of that one is, so you lock the two together. So that one's long that way. We're going to put in the short handle. Okay, now here's kind of a not that critical, but you see all these tabs here. When you're going to pound these forms together, you'll use your hand. Don't hit where a tab is, or you're going to cuss. So you want to hit, or if you want, you can actually use a rubber hammer and tap where the tabs
From
are.
experience, I think.
From experience. So you just got to line up like the back looks really good. We're having where this form's coming in as being a little gimpy. Got to jiggle him around a little bit and lock him down. And that's it. And then you take off, and we'll go to the common seam on every side, and we'll take off and go that way again. When you're measuring this next course coming in, make sure you measure just to the block below it. Don't butt in and measure, because that will be your number tightened down. So Steve, throw your tape up. Hook on that one and make sure you pull them tight. Yep, beautiful.
31 1/4.
31 1/4, that's the number you're looking for then. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see this cut, I'm going to turn this into a factory cut, and then that'll be my common end seam. But on this one, doing that, when you do that, you want to just make sure you cut just a hair short. If you go long, then it's going to screw up trying to pop your next ones in. Whoop. Take him.
You don't tie no steel together when you
No. Going. Here's Steve on the third course. Go, Steve, go! Looking good. All right. Okay, then basically when you're looking down, when you're stacking together, all these should line up. If they aren't lined up, you got something either flipped the wrong way on a common seam or whatever. But so that keeps you straight up and down for screwing your sheetrock to or whatever you need to do. Sighting. Okay. Okay, if you look at this form, this is a brick ledge form. Here's our actual wall, and this just sticks out another 4 inches, so you can use for a brick ledge. You put it to the outside of the house. In this particular instance, we're going to use it for the floor ledge, and we're turning a few of them to the inside. Okay. Look. Watch your pinkies on these. Okay. Okay, basically, well, we got the wind blowing, probably can't even hear me. Come a little closer while I'm talking, please, Lexi. And that's Lexi, my granddaughter behind the camera, by the way. So, but we got 3 courses stacked up, and now we're just gonna go around and check it for plumb. We're gonna plumb all the corners up first before we continue on. It's just less of a wrestling match later on. So we'll plumb them all up and then we'll stack. There's only one more course going on. So, and it's going good today. How's it going, Steve?
Wonderful.
Wonderful, wow. Okay, here we go. And then we want to kick it to the line. So everywhere, that's why we're gonna put Steve on the outside, and me, or Steve on the inside, I'm sorry, me on the outside. I'll plumb, and then we'll have to make sure we got the forms kicked to the line. That way we're straight on the bottom too. So Steve right here, kick him out.
Bottom?
Yep, just right in the corner. go. That's good. The corner's off a little bit this stage of the game. Let's look right here. If you read level, if you look at the wall's got to move that way, that means this end's got to jack up so you're tipping it out. So you either can, depending on which way it's leaning, you can lift up like this one. I lifted up this one to tip that wall that way. But on this one, we got to lift up this end to tip this corner out that way. So then we just throw a couple shims underneath the tab parts where it's got solid tab plastic there, and then that lifts it. What do we got for we got it stacked up as high as we're going to be. This is 4 courses. And so if you look, the wind's kind of pushing. We got a little prop there to keep stuff from blowing over. And now if you can see, we got the top rebar in there. Can you see that? That rebar is in, so now we'll shoot some heights and we'll get the measurements all right for our distance, how big the building is. We'll get all that right. And we'll lock it up and brace it up. You see the line? This is kind of a height we just kind of picked out of nowhere. And so then we're going to take the 2x4, we're going to screw it so the top of the board's even with this line. And when you're screwing with 2x4s, you just want to use a coarse thread. This is a 3-inch screw. Put it in because you actually want to suck the board up to the styrofoam. And if you use a countersinking screw with which is the most popular nowadays, they won't suck it up. They'll just drill out the coarse thread, drywall screw, whatever, 3-incher. That works. Okay, you want to screw on each side of the seam. So you got here, that if you go every couple feet in between's fine, but on each side of the seam, that's where you want to screw. You got a guy on the end. See how it sucks up like that? That's what you want. What we got here now is we're going to have, before we lock up the seam, which we can't move, so we'll have to measure the outside of the wall. We'll check the length, see what it is, and then we'll measure this board and we'll have to add or subtract whatever that distance is that we need on our outside line. Okay. Okay, we measured the entire length of the wall and we're 3/8 of an inch short. Right, Steve? So we got to measure this number here. I got 133 and 13/16, and then I got to add 3/8 of an inch. That's what we'll cut that board, spread that out, and that'll bring our total length to right. 133 and 13/16. Height good? Yep. So, and then watch him do this next one over this way so you can see. Look how the form kind of pushes a little bit when he hits the plastic tab. And then he sucks it up, and then that's it. And you don't want to over drill either. You try not to strip out if you can. As soon as it sucks in, quit. This black plastic on this new door form is pretty good. Good there. Up in here. Yep. Okay, so we got the ribbon up all the way around. This is the top of the form height. And then this also, we measured our wall, so this, all our numbers are correct for the outside dimensions. So now we need to brace it up. So we're just going to put a brace about every 8 feet, one in every corner, and then about every 8 feet around, and then we'll add, if we need one here and there, we'll add one. And that's how that works. Cut the cord. Okay, Okay, here's the turnbuckles we're going to put on. You're going to screw these in here, we put a stake in, and then we can turn them one way or the other to either push the wall out or pull it in. Okay, so you got to make sure that you got enough room to play either way here before you stake it down and lock it all up tight. And then also walk this way, Lexi. When you screw it down here, you come around over here, Lex. You want to be able so you don't get in your line, because we're going to put a line in the front. Even with this 2x4, I'm going to put a line there. So you need to keep this area clear. So just like that. Okay, so we've got, if you look, we've got all the turnbuckles on. And now I'm just going to put a line and we squirt it in. From the outside to the outside. We cut off the inside, we leave the outside till after we pour. The top of the board is their top of concrete. We pour it, and then you go cut the top off on the other side of the foam. So we leave that alone, but I'm going to put a line up here, and then we'll straighten all these turnbuckles. We'll just use them to move the in and out to the line, because we got our corners locked up for square and distance. So we're good, just a matter of following the line from there. Okay, we've got the wall straightened, everything locked up, numbers are good. Then we're going to go down, and we're just going to make sure that the forms are good to the line. I'll have one on the inside, Steve will go in, I'll go out, and we'll just shove it around so we're on the line on the bottom. And then once that gets done, we will foam the bottom down on the inside and out to the footing. Okay, then Steve, you got to basically foam it so you're sealing up the bottom, but you're also actually gluing the foam block to the footing. So then that helps keep everything into place. Okay, there we got just a couple, show the cleats down lower, and then basically we foam all that up then with the foam that he's got on the bottom there, if you can see that. That's around the whole bottom. So you do that inside and outside, and you fill all the holes up, everything with foam before you pour. And then we're just putting the steel in now, and we'll have to finish filling everything, and then we'll be ready to pour. Okay, then Steve is just putting the verticals in, and that was he just finding those little PVC pieces we cut off the 2-inch, and you just slide them in there, and then they sit there. Then when we pour about half the distance up, so we do about 3 feet in a lift all the way around, and then we kind of straighten the rebar out basically with that bottom lift after we've been by pouring it, and then you're good to go on the last pour. Okay, I just wanted to show you, we ended up cutting the brick ledge down because it was too high. That way we can get a 5-inch floor, and our 2 inches of foam underneath that, he's got in-floor heat going on. We made room for that. I cut it down, but now I got that big gaping hole there. So I've actually taken a 2x6, it's a little taller, and I can get a few screws into the upper ICF form there, and then plug the hole that I could still have it come out enough to carry my floor. That's to carry the floor. So I took a 2x6, just screwed that on the inside just to cover up that hole, because that'll all be below floor height, so everything's buried. So we'll be in pretty good shape there, and I won't have concrete flowing out all over like crazy. So that was the remedy for that. Okay, we're basically all foamed up, ready to pour. You see what I did where the common sieve cups together. And you got to remember all your pressure's on the bottom when you're first pouring. Number one, this particular instance, you're dropping the concrete 6 feet down to the bottom. So that's a lot of pressure. And basically when you start pouring, you want to start away from your corners and let it flow around the corner. You want to pour about a 5-inch slump. Is basically what I go. This is a 6-inch form, you know. So that way, if you pour like piss, everything's going to come out of all these holes. See where you got the floor ledge holes? If you pour it really, really wet, that's just going to come out of there. Nothing's holding. So if you pour about a 5-inch slump, that'll still flow nice to make sure you're consolidated. Everything, your concrete's all good. And then you go from there. All the turnbuckles locked in, string up on. So as we pour, we'll pour in 2 lifts. This is a 6 foot. If it was a full-size basal, like 8 or 9 foot wall, I'd do it in 3 lifts. So we'll pour around one time, and you're going to get a pump or a conveyor. This instance, we're getting a conveyor, but because we can reach with a conveyor, and it's not a very tall wall. If it was an 8 foot high wall, we'd get a pump. But the smaller deal here, we're just getting the conveyor that goes right on the Ready Mix truck. So, but we'll start away from a corner, and then we'll just start filling. We'll fill half of it, like 3 feet here, and then we'll just kind of pour, let it flow kind of around the corner on the bottom a little bit by itself, pumping high on the edge, and then wing it around the corner really fast, and then pick it up about 3 feet on the other side, start filling again. I'm just on the bottom. Once that, by the time that sets enough to come back around on the next round, you're pretty good. And you'll notice most of the stakes we kind of got at an angle. You want to kind of keep them perpendicular with the brace, the turnbuckle you got on there. So you got the stake kind of at an angle. Then if you look, you can see we got a kind of nail, pound it down to it there so it doesn't lift. The thing just, as you turn it, it doesn't just start slide up and down the stake. Otherwise, you put the stake straight up and down, that's what happens. It'll just slide up or down the stake and it won't hold the thing. But we use stakes with holes in them and put a nail through and then pound it down tight to the turnbuckle. So basically, we're ready to pour at this stage of the game. We got any little holes around the floor ledge, whatever. We got them all foamed up. So we should be in pretty good shape to pour and let her buck. Okay, we'll see you when the truck backs up. And this is a board I put in where I had end in. I don't know if you can tell, but you countersink about halfway so then your nut stays flush, doesn't stick out. So when you tighten it up, and then see if you can't really tell, but I left some thread on there so you can actually sink in and your bolt won't stick out. So after the concrete's all set up, you can crank them up. I got one on the bottom, one buried down there, but that's how you end your form. And then on the back side of that, you can see I've got ice and water shield there so the concrete isn't touching the wood. Okay, that's it. Here's our help today. We got the Ready Mix showing up here. He's got the conveyor going out. We got Steve and Will. These are friends and relatives giving a hand today. So this is our volunteer crew. So we're just doing it, gonna do a little filming, and we're getting ready to pour. Okay, we got her done. So we're all poured up, eyeball around. Lex, we've been straight and we got the bolts in. We'll just have to cut a bunch of, or count the bolts, I guess, and leave the things. Kind of a simple one here for a starter. There's no window box, no door box we had to deal with, but basically that's the concept on how it all goes. And then, you know, you got to thank your help. Steve! Wave! Thank you, Steve!